Hello and welcome to Unapologetics. I am Brentley. This is the podcast where we read a Christian article and explain why it's stupid. Man, I don't like not getting along with people. You know what I mean? I've there's another content creator, and I was, I don't know, just kind of going back and forth with them about some stuff. I'm not gonna say who it is, but and it was just one of those things where, every time I saw them say anything, it was always some critique of the left, some like, and not only a critique of the left, but like using the frameworks of the right, like the narrative structure of the right, right? So it was like saying, oh, these wokes, all these fucking wokes, and then literally bringing up like stuff that, as far as like arguments that were like brought up by people like Tim Pool. And god damn it, nothing makes me more irritated than people using Tim Pool as a fucking, acting like he's like he's some like objective type of guy. He's not just a right wing fucking propagandist. Like he pretends to not be, but he is. He's a right wing propagandist. Anyway, and he was bringing up this. I'm not even. I feel like I went back and checked on it, and it wasn't as big of a deal as what I thought. But it was some guy who's basically playing, like pretending to be trans to kind of, I guess, like prove a point by wearing, like fake boobs and stuff. And he was saying like, oh, that's so ridiculous, and the wokes are just letting them do that, right? And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, dude, this isn't an argument. Like, what are you talking about, right? We have like more anti-trans fucking bills, like coming like out of pretty much half the states than we've ever had, ever. Like, and it's just a problem. Like the murder rate of trans women is just astronomical. It's just a group of people that's just being fucking beaten down. And you're going to be like, yeah, but sometimes they're kind of silly, though. Like, really? That's where we're at here? And it's like, so what if somebody fucking pretends to be, like, you can pretend to be in a wheelchair, too. You know that? You could pretend to be in a fucking wheelchair. That doesn't mean that we get rid of all the fucking wheelchair ramps, man. Like, well, but somebody could fake it, though. Let's just not accommodate, people in wheelchairs because somebody could just buy a wheelchair, And what, are you just going to throw people out of all the wheelchairs? No. So, no more wheelchair ramps. Like, that's, what the fuck kind of, like, what, you're not thinking this through, man. But, anyway, so, yeah, I tried to, like, have this conversation, and I get to a certain point where I just don't give a fuck anymore. Especially if alcohol is involved. And I had gone on this show. You should check it out. It's called Math Pig on YouTube. Just look up Math Pig. And Irish dude, awesome guy, super funny, super chill, very, very Irish. I mean, not like I'm Irish American, like he's Irish, like, you know what I mean? He doesn't slightly have an accent or anything. No, he's very Irish. It's awesome. And so, yeah, going on that show, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna represent, and I'm gonna bring some Tampa Bay IPA beers, And so I drank a 6-pack. I hadn't drank in a while, and I drank a 6-pack of it's called High Alive, and it's pretty strong. It's like 7%, something like that, 7.5%, something like that. And so, yeah, by the end of it, I was I was pretty twisted. And and so I was still going back and forth with this other content creators, and I was just really drunk. And so, I just started fucking with them, just kind of being really rude and stuff, And of course, I ended up feeling bad. I messaged him yesterday and apologized. Like, I'm sorry, I was, I got drunk, and that's true. I mean, that is absolutely what happened. I got drunk, but he did piss me off, and I do disagree with him on a lot of things. But I shouldn't have gone off like I did. But I don't know, it just kind of shows me like where we're at, and there's people use these like attempts to be objective, or these attempts to try to be objective. We can't be objective. That's just not something that we can do. It's impossible. We all have biases. We just do. And so we attempt to be objective, right? And so, but the problem is that honesty gets used against us. And what will happen is people on the right will almost expect you to be like, but this is too far, though, right? But this is too, what about this trans person doing this, though? That's too far, right? You know? And they're trying to kind of needle at your attempts to be objective or your attempts to criticize your own side, right? And I get that. I've been there, you know. I'm like, I went through a whole thing where I kind of got pissed off at my own side, you know, kind of got pissed off at the left for things, you know, until I realized I was just being a fucking baby about the whole thing, you know, that like, hey, I actually got it just fine. This is ridiculous that I'm even crying about this shit. This is stupid, you know. But my point is they use that against you. And so like then in an attempt to prove to them that you're being objective, you move the political needle further to the right, right? Because now you're like, oh, now you're criticizing the left too, you know. And it's like, hey, I criticize the right a lot, but you know, I only criticize the left a little bit, you know? And that shows that I'm, you know, I'm both sides in this shit. Okay, I'm really thinking. No, man, you're just like you're thinking too much about how you look and less and too little about the people that need you to be thinking about them, which is, you know, in states where we're having fucking book bans and other states are banning, what do you call it, drag shows and stuff like. It's like, my God. And yes, they are banning them. Like, I don't care who people like comment saying like they didn't ban them. Yeah, they did, man. It does, like they didn't say that you can't do it anywhere in the state, but it's like, oh, you can't do it if it's within 1,000 feet of a fucking school, or a church or anything. You know, it's like, what the fuck is going on? That's an effective ban. It depends where they're at, obviously, but if they're within 1,000, that's like me saying that like a church can't function 1,000 feet from a convenience store. You know. They would freak out. They would like close most churches. You know what I mean? Like that would, you know, they would lose their shit. But the point is, yeah, we got to be better than this. You know, really think this stuff through. But I shouldn't have gotten all, you know, angry about it and gone that direction either. But that's, you know, that's what alcohol do. That's why I'm not. So I'm backing off the drinking, you know. That's why I'm doing that. But so this article, I know all that for just for just me to be like, yeah. Anyway, the article. So this is from FocusOnTheFamily.com. And this one's about, I guess it's a question, like it's a question and answer type thing. That they do on Focus on the Family. And this one's about, it's called Religious Indoctrination of Children. And the question is it wrong to tell children what they should believe about God? Isn't that a form of indoctrination? I'm thinking it's better to allow kids to make up their own minds. I actually agree with the person asking the question. But something tells me that the author of this Focus on the Family article thing here is not going to agree with them. So, but let's see. It's been said that if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. No, that's just not true. No, actually, if you fall for something stupid, you tend to fall for more stupid things. That's how that goes. You know, as in nature, so with the human heart, a vacuum can't exist for long without some kind of content rushing in to fill it. Okay, what? As in nature, so with the human heart, a vacuum can't exist for long without some kind of content rushing in to fill. Okay, so they're basically just saying like, hey, they're gonna be thinking about something. We better decide what it is for them, I guess, since they're gonna be thinking about something there. The principle has a profound bearing upon the spiritual aspect of the parenting process. Little children don't come into the world with fully formed independent thoughts of their own about God, nor do they have the wisdom, experience, or intellectual capacity to make up their own minds, quote unquote. So it's like, yeah, they can't even do that, bro. Making up their mind. Shut up. You know, that's kind of what they're doing. Just kids doing their own thinking. Get out of here, you nutbag. Jesus. About the deeper questions of human existence. In the spiritual realm, the one that doesn't exist, you know, in the spiritual realm, as in every other area of life, they are utterly dependent on you to feed them, to nurture them, and point them in the right direction. If you don't, somebody else will. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I just don't agree. I don't like agree with that necessarily. I think you can keep them being curious. That was the thing. Like when I was indoctrinated, it was like it stifled all of my curiosity because they replaced a know with a believe, right? And it was like I wasn't allowed to know things because I was forced to believe things. And that's just, you know, to me that's really fucked up because I'm a very curious person and they literally did everything they could to shut that down. They did not want me to be curious. They wanted me to not ask questions, to not think about stuff, just shut down, just accept everything, just believe. And then it kind of turns you into this, it's very traumatizing because it turns you into this people pleaser type of person, right? And then also a person who's very down on yourself. So not only are you pleasing other people all the time and doing everything for everyone else, but you're also really like down on yourself, like calling yourself stupid and thinking that you can't do. And it's all because you're not allowed to figure things out. You're not allowed to think, you know. And so it does this weird thing in your brain, and it's very traumatizing, and it's very harmful for, you know, and it leads to a lot of just negative behavior loops and stuff like addiction or just, you know, just negative behavior, you know, on some form, you know. It could be gambling, could be, you know, all sorts of things, because you try to cope using everything you can think of to cope, because you tend to believe that you can't do anything right, and so you need to reach out and do all these other things. Anyway, it's a whole mess. And I've noticed it. It's not just me. It's like, you know, a lot of my friends. I still talk to a lot of my friends from that were indoctrinated right alongside of me, and we're all having very similar issues. A lot of addiction issues, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, you know, stuff like that. Nicotine, just whatever, you know, all sorts of stuff. And yeah, it's all because of that, you know, stifling of our brains, I think, um, through our childhood, you know, just not allowing us to be creative in any way, shape, or form, and not allowing us to be curious, you know. What makes this assignment all the more urgent is that you have a fairly narrow window of time in which to carry it out with maximum effect. The fuck, who talks like this? You're talking about a child, man. Like, talking about a child, like, believing things that you want him to believe. And you're, like, turning it into a fucking. Sounds like he's talking about a car. Like, you know. Oh, this is why you gotta make sure you set the timing belt right. Otherwise, what the fuck are you. Jesus. There's a brief period during childhood when kids are wide open to spiritual and moral training, when they're full of wonder, curiosity, uh, and questions like, why would you do that? Who made the stars? That's a weird. So, yeah, and they're like, you got to shut that wonder and curiosity right the fuck down, okay? You got to immediately be like, God made him. So stop asking questions. God did it. And he'll send you to hell if you keep asking questions. Jesus Christ. And what happens to grandma after she dies? What the fuck? Okay. This explains why the leadership of the Roman Catholic Church has often been quoted as saying, give us a child until he's 7 years old, and we'll have him for life. Jesus, gross. During the preteen and adolescent years, They may develop a typical teenage resistance to any kind of input from mom and dad. But at this stage of the game, they continue to be like sponges, ready to soak up anything and everything you can dish out to them. Naturally, there's another side to this coin. If young children don't get the teaching they need, it will be difficult to make up for lost time when they get older. In some cases, a lack of appropriate training during the early years may even handicap an individual in terms of his or her capacity for spiritual insight. So, in other words, it'll handicap their ability for, taking in bullshit and being able to. It's like, yeah, because once they kind of start to notice, hey, this is all obviously bullshit, and so they get you before that kind of time when you're kind of looking around, going, yeah, none of this is real, none of this comports with reality in any way, shape, or form. They get you in before that, then they kind of program your brain to be afraid to question it. They program your brain to be like, no, you have to think this is the way, otherwise your entire world comes crumbling down. And that's how they kind of keep you. They get you in there. And it's like, this worldview holds up your entire world, and that's sort of how they do it. That's why scriptures are so emphatic about the importance of spiritual training for kids. These words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, what? When you lie down, what? And when you rise up. Deuteronomy. God, that book is so shitty. I mean, the whole thing, the whole Bible, it's just nonsense. That's Deuteronomy 6:6-7. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. Fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of the Lord. Ephesians 6:4. Okay. Yeah, it's probably do not provoke your children to wrath. I mean, I'm pretty sure that definitely happened to me. I was definitely provoked to fucking wrath, that's for sure. But I don't. But it was him trying to do what they're literally saying they should do here. So technically, according to what they think, they didn't. He didn't do anything wrong, but he definitely did. Jesus. As you prepare to tackle this challenge, remember that spiritual training involves more than just sending your children to church. It's basically a matter of living the principles you believe, letting biblical truths permeate your conversation, and using everyday incidents to make a point or illustrate a truth of God's Word. When you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down. Why are they repeating this? It's just like the dumbest part of the verse. When you sit in your house, it's like, okay, I'm sitting. When you walk by the way, look, there's the way right there. We're passing it. Okay, see you, way. When you lie down, lying down now. When you rise up, okay, I'm awake. I am awake. Jesus Christ. It should go without saying that parental modeling is the most important piece of the puzzle. Kids need to see active faith demonstrated in their parents' lives. No one expects you to be perfect, but your actions truly speak louder than your words. Letting your children see you read the Bible, for instance, shows them the relevance of Scripture to your life. Okay. I mean, the relevance that you force. It's not actually relevant. It was literally written 2,000 years ago and advocates for fucking slavery, man. And does not say you can't rape. Which somebody needs to tell that to Ray Comfort, man. I keep seeing his videos, and he's like, how do you know a rape is wrong? And it's like, not from reading the fucking Bible, man. It's not in there. The only thing it says about rape is like, it's, you got to make the woman marry her rapist and pay her father And the rapist has to pay her father 50 shillings or some shit, because it's chattel. It's just the chattel part, She's not a human. She's like, she's a piece of property. Anyway, wish somebody would explain that to fucking Ray Comfort because he keeps on using that. It's just really annoying. Anyway, so this is here's the bottom line. If you hold back from fulfilling your spiritual responsibilities as a parent out of some vague fear of indoctrinating your kids, you'll only be doing them a huge disservice. Moms and dads who withhold instruction from their children and allow them to decide for themselves, in quotes, what they're going to believe are almost guaranteeing that they'll decide to turn away from the faith and embrace what seems right in their eyes, in their own eyes. Holy shit, man. Then doesn't that tell you something about like your stupid fucking beliefs? Doesn't that tell you that maybe your beliefs are fucking dumb, like, and obviously false? If you have to lie to your kids and act like, and here's the thing, I think I was just watching, it was on, I want to say it was Telltale, was saying that if you, what was it? Damn it. It was like a quote from like Abe Lincoln, right? And he said, like, if you tell somebody something is true without knowing whether or not it is true or false, you have lied. That is a lie, And that was, I don't know, this is some quote of Abraham Lincoln, I guess. I didn't look it up or anything, but, for the most part, I think he's makes good sense and would probably look up something like that, but it's not a big deal. It's a good quote, because that is absolutely true. If you tell your kid that you know something is true without actually knowing that it's fucking true, you have lied to your kid. That's a lie. Like, just pretending to know a thing that's unknowable is fucking lying. That's just how that works. You can pretend to be like, but that's my beliefs. Okay, but that's not reality. And you're just lying to the kid. And if you're sitting here saying that, yeah, you have to lie to them, otherwise they'll figure out it's all bullshit, because it's pretty obvious when you just live in the regular world for a while. And you're like, yeah, blood magic ain't really a thing, man. It is actually kind of weird that we sing about being covered in blood, of Jesus, our God. Our God's blood is all over us, and that makes us white as snow. Like, that's fucking weird, man. Like, it's talking about eating your God. That's fucking weird too, dude. Like, there's so many goddamn weird things in the Bible. Like, just having a bloody fucking like a guy all bloodied up, being tortured to death on a Roman torture device in your home in front of kids and shit is weird. That's weird, okay? Inappropriate, all right? Like, they're like talking about drag shows being like so fucking, oh man, it's crazy that that men are wearing, women's clothing in front of kids. And yeah, but they're like, oh, but let's put this tortured guy on a cross in the living room. It looks good right there. Looks good right there, You can really see how deep the cuts go and with the blood smeared all over. Like, fucking what the hell? How is that appropriate? Jesus Christ. But the guy, but a man wearing women's clothes. Now, holy shit. Now that's fucking, it's like, damn, dude. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand, like, what they think is, why they think what they think. Other than they're so used to these things. They're so used to these, because they've been indoctrinated. They're so used to these different crazy religious concepts that they don't even question it anymore. It's like, that's how I was. It's like, and it was crazy too, because we just had damn it, I can't think of his name, but it's in the last, not this past episode of Left of the Valley, it was the one before that, and he was writing a book about indoctrination and how indoctrination works at an older age. And it was really interesting because he was like able to connect the younger, like, indoctrination and to the older indoctrination, because he's trying to figure out like what it is about the human psyche that has this feeling of like this comfort coming from a creator God, right? Because the feeling is there. That's true. There is a feeling that there is something out there watching over you, especially if you believe it. And so his book is kind of going over those sorts of things, right? And it was interesting because he ties it all back to the desperation that a child feels when they're like just after they're brought into this world, and so they're looking to the mother for everything, for their food, for their drink, for their everything, for their comfort, for their safety, for everything, and so that is what kind of transmits to later, and after you've grown up, you still have those feelings. You just don't recognize that they are for your mother. They are actually for the God, a God at that point, right? But it's interesting too because how many times? I mean, so many times I've noticed, and I was again the same way with this, was that people will believe a thing because their mother believes it, and they love their mother, and they think that if I don't believe this stuff, then that means I hate my mom, and that's not true. You don't have to believe everything that your mom believes. Your mom is capable of being wrong. If she's a good person, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think my mom's a great person, but I just think she's wrong about a lot of stuff, But for the longest time, I held on to these beliefs, like, very tightly, because I thought that if I didn't hold on to these beliefs and, defend them vehemently, that would mean that I did not love my mom. And when anybody talked badly about the beliefs or said that they weren't convinced of these beliefs, I was like, then you're talking shit about my mom, bro. That's what you're doing right now. You better fucking take it back. Take it back. you know, which is obviously stupid. That's not how anything works. you know, but that's the feeling, and so it really made sense to me that this guy, God damn, I wish I could think of his name, that he, the kind of yarn he was spinning there about, where these feelings of comfort, like of a creator God comfort, where that stuff comes from, and it made really good sense. So I am gonna start reading that book. They sent us a what do you call it, a PDF file of the entire book. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna read through it on my spare time. Kind of sucks though because I have to fucking read it with my eyes. I'm used to like just listening to books, That way I can do like 20 other things while I do it, because I have ADHD. Okay, here it is. His name is John C. Wathy, or Waffy. I can't remember. And his book is called The Phantom God. And yeah, definitely check that out if you can, because it is a really fascinating perspective. That's very intellectual, from a very intellectual place. I think is um, an excellent kind of breakdown of why we have this feeling that there is this phantom god present. Oh, okay, and that was that's pretty much the end of the article. It has this little ending spot here where it says, "If you need help applying these principles, call us," and it's underlined in blue. We have a staff or pastoral counselor. We have a staff of pastoral counselors who would love to discuss your questions and concerns with you over the phone. God, that's fucking terrifying. And then it has sort of a list down here. It says resources, right? A parent's guide to the spiritual growth of children. Jesus. Teaching kids about God is another one. Raising kids with Christ-like conviction. Okay. Talking as a family about topics of faith. Jeez, so they're really, it's crazy when they're always talking about like gay folks and everything, like, oh, they're coming for your kids, they're coming for your kids. This place literally has a call-in line. No, we are actually coming. Like, we're not hiding that fact. We are actually coming for your kids. In fact, could you call us and we'll tell you exactly how to let us come for your kids, okay? Like, it's so crazy. And so they get so mad when we have these like drag queen story hours and stuff, which are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with the drag queen story hours. You might be able to make a case that some of the family friendly drag shows are like a little bit too risque or whatever for kids or whatever. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell because I know how there's such a motive on the side of the right to lie and to say that to show up with kids to just a regular drag show and then take pictures of it and call it a family friendly drag show, right? There's too much motive for that type of behavior that I have a hard time believing when people show all these pictures, like these libs of TikTok type pictures, right? And libs of TikTok gets it fucking wrong all the time. They basically talk like I was reading one. I was just like going through. Libs of TikTok is basically this TikTok page that like doxes parents of trans kids and stuff, and kids that go to drag queen story hours and kids that go whatever. Just like it basically targets these fucking families as if they're like child abusers and stuff. It's really gross. And she's insane. Like she just kind of came out the fucking woodwork, and her eyes are she looks like she's in a cult, man. Like she's in a fucking cult. Like her eyes are glossed over. She doesn't look like anything's going on back there. It's just like I don't know. But yeah. So but I'll see her get stuff wrong. And it was crazy. Like people, there was like this one they were saying, oh, it's a little trans kid, and it was there's like saying, oh, it's a little boy who's transitioned to be a little girl, right? And taking all these pictures of them online and everything, and putting them all up on their fucking libs of TikTok shit, putting the names of the mom and stuff. Turns out it wasn't even like the girl wasn't even trans. It was just a girl. Like she was just a little fucking girl who liked to play dress up and liked to kind of wear these, sort of like over the top dresses and stuff. And the moms are like, yeah, whatever, dude. Who fucking cares, But there they are being targeted, treated as though that was a trans person, and it wasn't even the entire time. Not saying that they should be targeting trans people, obviously, or trans kids or whatever, but they're not even concerned about getting it right, is my point. Like they're just smashing everything with the hammer to get the fly that's annoying them. You know what I mean? They're just breaking everything to fucking get the fly that's at the barbecue or whatever. I don't know if that's a good analogy. I don't mean it to be like belittling of like what's happening here, because this is like it's this whole situation with the right attacking the drag shows and trans folks and stuff just relentlessly is a major problem, and we do need to take it very seriously, and we need to remember that this stuff is it's above us. It's more than just us, right? This is something that puts a lot of people in fucking danger. There's so much stochastic like terrorism out there from it. It's a very dangerous time to be trans or to be LGBTQIA plus in any regard. It's just a very fucking dangerous time. And so we really, 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 really got to take this very seriously. And, try to think a little bit further than, so I don't look whatever. I don't want to. I don't want to be like I'm just giving the left all the free passes. Look, no, give them the free fucking passes right now, okay? Holy shit! Like, this is not the time for criticizing them, jumping onto the right and be like, yeah, totes, right, totes. But anyway, yeah. And also, if you feel like it, go ahead and go on Twitter and report libs of TikTok. Just keep reporting them. That's what I do. I just report them every time I get up there. Hopefully I know Elon Musk has basically ruined Twitter now, but we can still like try to fucking get these people at least get some of their tweets taken down sometimes and stuff. So yeah, just find like 3 or 4, report them, and yeah, just that'd be great. If you do want to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/unapologetics, spelled like the show. I am putting more and more content up there, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think I got a new one with Godless Engineer that's going up there. And yeah, thanks for listening. Oh, you can also like the page. We have a secret underground party on Facebook. I think if you just search for Unapologetics and then send me a request, I'll let you in. And then, yeah, if And then you can follow me on Facebook. My name's Brent Lee. Which, okay, the Brent Lee thing, real quick. I had I had somebody like ask me, they're like, "Wait, were you on a show?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was on a show." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize because they kept calling you Brentley." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my name." And they're like, "I thought you were Brent Lee." And I was like, "No, that's the joke. The joke is the Brent Lee. That's the joke one." Because they required you to give a last name, right? And so I was like, "Oh, that'd be funny," because I really just want to be like Madonna, or Moses, whatever, and just be Brentley, and that's it. Because I don't think there's any other Brentleys in the community, so it would make sense just to be Brentley, right? Um, and so yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it was just funny. I guess he had heard the Q Drop podcast, and I guess they just did some kind of ad or something recently where they like said that I was a YouTuber and podcaster and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, that's you." It's like, yeah, that was me. So, but yeah, check out the Q Drop podcast. Excellent show. It's Courtney Hurd's new show. And it's about people whose lives were changed, or basically relationships that were torn apart because of QAnon and other conspiracies. And I kind of go on and talk about my dad. I had a pretty intense conversation with my dad the last time I talked to him before he passed away. So it's a pretty heavy one. Although I think they did such a good job of keeping it kind of light and comfortable for me because it was kind of difficult to dredge that stuff up. But yeah, check out the Q Drop podcast. Also check out Math Pig, his channel. Also check out I've been doing so much stuff I can't think of everything, but yeah, I'll I'll get back to you with more of the stuff. Oh, check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Brent Lee, BRENTLY, Brent Lee, BRENTLEE, the joke one, and got lots of videos going up there. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, check it out. But, what do we say to the haters, discriminators, and masturbator shamers? Fuck off.